So this week we'll move to watercolor florals. We have done a lot of florals over the past couple of years. So today I wanted to do something that's a little more exotic. So instead of doing regular flowers like roses and irises and things like that that we've done last week, let's try something new. At least we'll find uh, I guess a new avenue to appreciate florals. I've tried to keep them local. There are enough and plenty local flowers that are also very peculiar, very unusual. And many of them have interesting stories or some kind of history that we can relate to. This is, of course, the Krishna Kama passion flower. This one is the flower of the cannonball tree. And it's actually got a very nice Hindi Sanskrit name. I keep forgetting it. I'll remember it in a bit. It's extremely fragrant, and you see them in bunches. It could be the season. Or there's a long season for these flowers. Then we have this is Gloriosa superba. You see a lot of this in the Konkan. And then this is actually I think a calla lily. I wanted to look for a pitcher plant, but this one also looked quite interesting. And the structure is fairly similar. It's tubular, and of course, this is not carnivorous, but that one would be. And this is a lady slipper orchid. It's it because of its petal modification, the bottom petal tends to look like the foot part of a lady's slipper. And then the petals on the side are also modified and made very decorative, so they look like bows. So very often these flowers tend to look like 17th century uh, fancy shoes of the French royalty. Very sweet. So anyway, the point is that we are going to study various structures and then paint those structures as well. One of you can sit here, one of you can sit here. Okay, so for warm up, we'll start with the Gloriosa. I'll show you how to draw it as well, and also how to paint it a little loose. And that should be enough warm up for us. And then we will go to the more complicated flowers. Even this one, we could try both of these, 1 and 2. Okay, say hi to. Okay, so you have the references, right? So we'll do the first and the second flower. Mind. Dash. Okay, now we'll test whether in person is better or online is better. Because you'll be able to see this on your phones also. Yes. And actually, you'll be able to see it over here as well. Yeah, this might be better.
Yes. So you shouldn't join the Zoom call, no?
No, no, don't. Okay, now how do I see it?
Or maybe we can come at the back once you're drawing and then we can
Yeah,
draw.
yeah.
That would be better.
Okay. So for the right, for Gloriosa as well, if we try to draw it like how we draw all the other flowers, you start off with one point in the bottom and then you mark your directions. And this is just for to get your eyes set to what you need to do. And then once that is done, then you can try to follow this line. Now keep it as close to reality as you can. Avoid doing something like this because then you'll make a completely different flower altogether. So if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bumps on the edge, then just make 4 bumps. If you've got 6, just make 6. If the bump starts from here, then don't make it from here. So just do it slowly so that you can observe the structure properly. But also we want to make it like an easy flower. So don't be too be a little loose in your handling of the pencil. Now, since we are starting up again a whole page of flowers, make these ones at the bottom so that the ones that you make on top will then be overlapped by the ones in the bottom. If you make these on top, then the bottom ones will be underlapping and it'll all look really odd. So we'll start from the bottom this time. We have start with a circle, and from the base, we will draw a line going to maybe 11 o'clock, then 1 o'clock, maybe 2, 10, and a little close to 9. And you can compare the lengths of these lines as well. This line comes pretty high. If this is the top of the circle, then draw this petal. And then you will have some scale to draw the other petals with. So when you're drawing this part, look at what's happening on the left in the picture. This petal comes around the part where there's a dent in the petal here. It's a very tiny dent. So every line you make, you can pay attention to what is happening around it. Then you will see that there's a double line in some places for demarcating the yellow space, the yellow color. Don't make it as firm as we make the other lines, but do mark it out gently. And we also see the inside of a fold, so you can draw that. This will become a little more apparent in other places where you have the backs of the petal. Right now over here, sideways, upright, and then turn around, go behind the petal. And then you see the back of the petal going like this. This part comes, actually this comes higher, then it comes a little straight. If you draw it like a petal, then you might be drawing something wrong. Draw it as a line that you see. Okay, you want to start?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you should be able to do it. So there's this green stalk coming out from here. You can ignore that. If you look at this petal on the right hand side, you'll notice that the separation between the red and the yellow color is actually just dots. But the yellow part frills up and turns outward, so you don't see the line in between. Mm. Yep. Keep this away. So last week we were trying to draw these shapes reasonably loose. And this week we just take a little more care in drawing the lines. Today, because I have these two girls here, I can keep an eye on the pace. Otherwise, I would have gone on to the next parts. So we saw a lot of these flowers at in Tamini and also down near Goa, on the way to Goa. We were told that apparently this flower, the stalk, is used as a for like an anesthetic. So it can be poisonous. I think in childbirth or something. I wish I could remember all these things. But the best, I think this flower is also called Lakshmi Se Hath because it is, yeah, it looks like hand holding something, and also the color keeps changing. So it starts off yellow and green, and then it becomes orange, and then it becomes red, and all the colors go from top to bottom, changing. Now, when you come to these whatever anthers at the bottom, the one in the middle looks shorter, and it's got a U-shaped line next to it. Just see it as that and draw it. Do not try to show it as if it's coming in front. This is coming in front towards you, but that's all you'll see. A foreshortened line for the stalk. This one is facing back. So sometimes I've found drawing these lines predictably can be a bit of a bother when you're drawing the long stem of these anthers. You want to make sure that on one end they are thick, the other end they are thin. And somehow it never happens. You start drawing the line and it just goes wherever it wants. So a few exercises do help. Just making a box that's about 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches or even longer, and then just drawing lines which are all radiating. That can help. Essentially, it's just about being able to control the pencil. But when you just draw normal lines, you tend to not keep an eye on distances. And of course, this is immensely helped by holding the paper instead of other body parts. Then, oh, very nice. A bead. Now just connect these. Yeah. You can see na the connection here. All the way to here.
And this one was I didn't draw it because I didn't
No, how
how
do
this
you see this? You see a line that comes like
straight.
this,
Hmm.
and almost a V shape going here, and then the rest of the V is
Here.
converted to this. That's all there is to it. Just draw it like that.
Okay.
That's what happens. When we see things in coming towards us, like this one, you feel ki you have to draw it. It has to be longer. So everyone lands up drawing it at an angle. Even I've done that. But that is absolutely inaccurate. Huh. You had a question, right?
So the extra lines I had drawn,
Huh.
so I can just get rid of them before I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
confused.
Now you can edit. So after you've done the extra lines, you know which ones you want to keep. So one by one, you can start removing. I'll show you how. So this is how you've drawn it. I'm just assuming it. So you can start reducing little by little. Don't erase large sections. So this way, it's much better to you only get rid of the stuff that you don't want. If you erase the whole thing, that means you might have to redraw everything. Then again, there's a chance in getting something inaccurately. And the other way to go about it is also just to press and remove the excess graphite. You won't really need to rub.
Actually, just the
Hmm.
part that's sticky.
Now, before we start painting this, how about let's draw the other lily also, and we can draw it on top of the Gloriosa. This lily should be fairly simple to draw because you just have a stalk that goes up. It's a very lovely, elegant line. Oh, see, already I've made it too straight. Drawing the left side first. This should be fairly easy to draw. Or not. Sometimes when there are fewer features, there's lesser things that you can use to map. But also remember that this is just a flower. So if one or two lines are a little off, it's okay. So complete the shape of the petal on the left and then make the other petal. The one on the right goes into the edge of the petal on the left, or the part of the petal on the left. But also notice how I think this is just one furled petal. So this end goes through and then emerges from the bottom. This is how I think it is. And then for that, the front part of my petal also goes a little higher than I have drawn it. So it allows more room for this petal to come out. Okay, I'm going to separate the two flowers, though I've drawn them one on top of the other, so that the color doesn't run from one to the other. Okay, now in the case of the Gloriosa, the background is dark, but in case of the lily, it is, yeah, it's green. Now it would be nice also to attempt a little bit of the backdrop in some places because then otherwise your paintings tend to look very stark, no, against a white background. So, uh, we are going to do two things. We are going to paint both flowers yellow. I think this stalk can continue. So the flower part can be yellow, and just around make it maybe glow. And then just around also put a little bit of green around both flowers. Don't put black. And let all of it look like it is flowing. So I can demonstrate this and then you can do it. I'm going to use lemon yellow as the first wash. And on the sides, I'll use directly sap green. Do you want to come onto this side? You might be able to see better. So washes should be rather free. I think a little bit of gamble should also help. There aren't really too many highlights here, so you don't need to keep any section white as such. And even over here, it will give us a very nice base tone. You'll see I've painted around the flower as well. It's not just in the flower. And now with this, I will also add a little bit of green, but very judiciously. Don't let that green eat into too much of the flower. Knowing that these colors are going to dry and become lighter, if there's a little that travels in, it's not the end of the world. Load your brush frequently and see, I love this color change from here to here. See, it's very interesting. And then of course, oh, I've got a rag. So press the brush along the edge just a little bit so that you don't get a sharp edge there. And I think the sepals are, yeah, these are also green and very light green. So these color mixes will make for a very interesting backdrop and won't keep your flowers totally isolated. Okay, chalo, let's try this. Do you have space there? Enough space? Okay. Turn the camera today to these girls. Take some 5-7 minutes to do this easily. Don't be harm. Don't rush through it. I'm going to come back. And don't overwork also. Sometimes I feel if you have too much time, you'll end up overworking. Hmm. Right, galat hai. Yeah, don't do. This is what I mean. Now move on to the next one. So this, when you press it like that, now that is when the paper starts coming out.
To hold to not go back again.
Wait. So again, don't do a motion like this.
So just like this.
Bring it down and say if I painted on the side, I'll be doing this again later. Go around the edge that you feel. So compose even the backdrop. Right now it's becoming very rectangular. That's also fine. But move your book around. Because your phone is here, your book is not moving around. So you have only a limited action in which you're making this draw.
So do I have this one now? I will use it for this. What I realized. So we don't do like this, as you were saying, yeah? Like this. As a name. Yes.
नहीं ऐसे ऐसे नहीं. So
हाँ,
don't do
ऐसे,
this.
yeah.
You can do horizontal as well. So I'll show you the difference here. So when you are filling up space, when we fill up space with say color pencil, our habit is to do this.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but for the right medium. In this case, remember, we've always
Yeah.
spoken about this, aim to stain. If you do this, the paper is stained. So you do this, you can do this. And what the action that you're doing in small, you need to make it more thoughtful. You know, this is just a mechanical action to fill up space. You'll end up getting a very
Yeah.
regular pattern on the side.
Yes.
You have to think about the impact. Do you need that pattern here? You probably don't. You just need it to be smooth. So then in that case, maybe you can do the pattern somewhere here, 1, 2, but it's not going to be mechanically done. It'll go back and forth, but then it'll stop and go further or something like that. So there's a difference in the tempo.
Yeah,
Then you'll get it.
yeah, got it.
Cool. Okay, so while your flowers are drying, I'll paint
Yes.
the rest. So the lily on top is fairly easy to paint, and here we can paint it like we paint our the color blending exercise that we've done, something similar to that. So use another brush for this. Don't use a very fat brush because you want to control the amount of medium you want in this. And have the colors ready. I'm going to use a burnt sienna and a little bit of scarlet in that. I've realized that unless you add some bright color to it, everything just becomes a very dull, uniform shade. And to be technically accurate, I'm going to keep my colors ready. I'm
to do this.
yeah. Once in a while, you should just clean out one section at a time. I know we get very attached to that whole the colors that we have created, but if you need space, you need space. So this way I can test what color I'm getting. And I may feel the need to even add a crimson, but you must remember, don't make one big puddle. Make the crimson mix on the side so you can shift, you can choose whichever shade you want at any point. Also keep your yellow ready because you have to transition from one to the other. And you can't go there with just water. And then, of course, you can have sap green, but no color in isolation. Keep a little cobalt blue handy if you feel the need. Oh, sorry. All right, so I'm going to start from the top here. And just to be able to test this, maybe I can start from the left instead of making the big petal first. So here I've mistakenly made this petal too fat. Should be thinner. As I come down, there's no need really to blend at this point, so I'm just going to leave it. And then this allows me to test the color after when it comes onto the yellow. Now, at this point, I can start. There's a light yellow lip there. Keeping the brush well hydrated and filled up. Taking this forward. As I come lower, the color is going to become slightly lighter. And also the strokes are fairly defined. So I'll have a stroke come down like that. Then next to that like this. With the brush. And now all these parts have to come down. So I need to put in a yellow. And it can go through these sections because there's a merge. And let it go a little further and then merge it with the green. The green is taller towards the left and becomes shorter towards the right. Here I need to add a little bit of blue. So here again, I have to resist the temptation to overwork my color. Only put in as many strokes as you need for the color to deposit and then move forward. And I'm not touching into the flower below because I want there to be a gap between the two. Now there's a lot of clouds happening here, but I'm not going to fiddle with this. Let it do its thing. Let it dry completely. I will just paint the back petal over here. And I'll wait to see how this combination looks and if I need to make any adjustments. So here the color is pretty flat. So I'm going to come back in a second round and make a little dark shadow on the edge. All right, do you want to give it a shot? I wipe your thing. Amanyu, how are you doing?
Ma'am, I'm doing well, here.
Okay, let's see. Ah, good, good. Wonderful. So you usually work pretty fast. If you feel comfortable, try painting this petal also on your own. It's the same technique. And after the whole flower has dried, then if you want to move to the next flower. So I want you to gauge for yourself whether you're satisfied with the end result and then move forward. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Sometimes these, just the plain wash also looks so nice on these flowers.
खूप वॉटरी झालं ना.
नाही अजून पाहिजे मला वाटतं अजून पिगमेंट पाहिजे. Yeah. But also water. Need some more water in that. Pani. Wait, you have color. You take it in the water and then you wipe it.
Usually when I'm doing something else, water के बाद wipe होता है वो गलती से पहले हो गया.
Yeah. I think this is also classic example of not forgetting that you're painting, not doing something else. Um, what is that? Mindfulness. Is that a new word in the past 5, 6 years, 10 years? Mindful. Boils down to, I think, what generally parents have only landed up telling their kids, just pay attention. Mindfulness. I don't know if it makes any difference to kids now if you say mindfulness. Be mindful of what you're doing.
I think this first time I'm painting this. This look mindful.
Good, good, very nice. It might be good actually because now today you aren't thinking about what's for lunch,
Yeah,
who's
there's no
coming,
one
who's
around.
going, nobody's around to disturb you.
Aditi, is it?
Yeah. Let me check. I'm pinning your screen. Nice, good. So the washes have become, I guess, wishy-washy. That's good.
Ah,
They're blending. Are you seeing your lines very, or the edges too stark?
for the watches? No.
Yeah. Okay, they blended well.
Ah,
Very good.
there some clouds have formed, but otherwise it looks good.
Yeah, the clouds will form, and this is, I guess, this is layer one, no?
Yeah.
Just don't overwork it.
The temptation to overwork is too strong.
It is. It just feels. It only occurred to me much later that we feel on two accounts. We feel we need to overwork. One is while it is wet, let me do as much as I can.
Ah,
That is the most, I think, compelling reason. And the second one is it's almost like the habit that we have of using a pencil or color pencil and shading like this. So we keep going on and on. I suspect even with pencil and crayons, when we kept doing this, 90% of it was not even effective because you already have laid down some color. But you
yeah.
keep doing this, and I suppose you keep doing that motion to think. While you're thinking, you keep scratching back and forth, and you're wondering, "Acha, what do I do next? What do I do next?" And you keep it and you take the next color, and then again you start with that. Chak, 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 chak. So I think it's a remnant of that habit just in our muscles, and then we do this. And of course, the before it's too late, let me blend. Philosophy is actually counterproductive. Okay, now whenever something like this happens, consider this also as just a layer which you can go over. Now this time change the color, maybe change something, add more depth, more maybe a burnt umber to the mix. And you'll again when you're mixing, keep it in one corner, don't mix the whole puddle up so that you can do this afterwards. Zai, your colors are drying up.
Oh,
So now you've made like a, I think you made the flag of Jamaica. I will correct that for you, but I'll show you. So just observe this. It's a matter of just observing action. So I'm going to lay down this slightly darkish color, which now has burnt umber. But look at the liquid content in this. It's fairly runny. And it must remain that while I finish my full movement over here. I'm bringing it just along the edge. And if you can't make those spiky bottoms, we're just blending it, right? So blend this, remove excess color, and pull this down just a little further. Now, this is a dark color, so you keep it shorter than the light color. And pull the light color longer into the space of the next dark color, which is our green. So look at what's going to happen here. So when I do this, automatically some color traces come into my next color, which is pretty long. Now I need to wipe this brush. There's enough liquid here, so I can just pull this, keeping everything wet. And then take my reasonably wet green and intersect into this. But it has to be your color or your pigment on top must remain active. Too much water here. Never mind. I counter that with a deeper color and also not as runny. So here now I could probably add, while it's wet, I could add texture. So I would make maybe a few dots, which will then mask that the cloudy thing that's happening, which I don't want. And I don't want to make another layer. So very gently, I will add more pigment and take advantage of these clouds coming. The colors along the edges and the bottom, they will be darker. So I'll just add a darker hue in a few places. And I'm going to keep looking at my reference image to where those few places will come. Don't imagine anything. So this should be good. See?
Yeah.
The third layer of color will add more vibrance also. Cool. Okay, so today our pace is going to be very slow. Thanks to Dai and Ritika. Susan, how are you doing? Are you painting or you're watching?
I am painting, but I was late. I overslept.
You slept. Oof, okay, no, not a problem. So while you all are doing this, should I correct yours? Chalo, I'm gonna correct Dai's. This is a good opportunity for me to get my hands on to your work.
Does this also give a hint that there is less water?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first and foremost is have plenty of color ready. You can always rehydrate and use it later. But don't mix the color after you have painted the first layer or the first shade. Okay, so I'm correcting Dai. So if you all want to have a look, just see what's gonna happen. Let's hope this works. I've made a darker mix of color using scarlet and burnt sienna, burnt umber, and a little bit of crimson. and I made the picture paint fairly liquid. So see how the brush goes. I've flattened the brush here. And here now I'll keep the brush sideways. So avoid painting like this. Paint it sideways. So even if you need these stripes coming down, you just lift the brush in the right place and they'll look stripy. That's gone too far. And just one stroke, not over and over. Now I'm inserting the yellow. So insert it from quite high up. This can seem very scary, but you can always wipe and reload. Now the green that you took, I have a feeling it was not sap green at all. This looks more like emerald green.
So I took this and maybe added this instead.
No, this is emerald green.
Oh,
So emerald green looks very artificial.
huh.
I mean, it
And
looks true
sketch
to,
pen green.
yeah, it looks true to emeralds, which is its job, I guess. That's why its name is emerald green. And I'm using adequate water to literally wash away all the previous strokes. And in this now, I can keep pulling out color. So it's enough liquid for me to make texture, to stain the paper, and also to remove previous color and to create the kind of pattern that we see in the flower. But again, this is a little tricky because if you keep doing this, the fibers are going to start coming. Yeah, quite dramatic.
Yeah.
It's still a flag of Jamaica, but it's a little better.
Thank you.
I hope it's Jamaica now. I better check. I just recall those Rastafarian people's caps.
Yes.
They look like that. So I'm
Yes.
just hoping that it's Jamaica. Let's check flag of Jamaica. No, it's not flag of
It's
Jamaica. Oh my God.
Mm.
Okay, I have to find out now. Thank
Red,
goodness.
green, and yellow.
Flags.
Brazilian. Huh. But no shade.
Oh wow. So you have so many colors, so many countries. And wow, I don't think any of them are in the Caribbean.
Oh, not in British Virgin Islands.
I don't think so. Wait, unless I don't even know my geography now. All right, let's see. Okay, so these are the colors of the Ethiopian monarchy. Really, you knew that? Wow. Well, there you go. Another page for the rabbit hole journal. Okay, now I'm moving forward with a petal on the side. It's pretty much the same thing. Yellow on the edge, and then the deeper red along the inside. I suppose in this case, the right consistency of paint makes all the difference.
You use a spray bottle to keep the shape. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Pans are drying up.
Yeah, yeah.
Paints are drying up. So she said pants are drying. No, pan.
Pan, pan. She did say pan, but without the T.
Pan, not the tea.
इसके लिए we'll have to work with different solutions. So the inside part of this petal, which is folding out, there also we need to give a darker yellow. So you use yellow ochre in that case, because here you need to see a shadow.
Yeah.
And also there will be a shadow in some of these places. Fiddling now. And then this a spine. Best to do this when everything is dried up. And even in this, you think if that it's only a green color, but there are multiple colors over here as well. So if you can see them and if you can put in that extra deeper color, then put that on one side. Then put it in the middle. So you get that color difference there. Okay. Shift the camera again to these girls, and I will be back in 5 minutes.
Which sap green is what? Blue. Okay. Like, we have, sorry, bluish green, so that it looks little darker. Huh. Shade of silence. The yellow, highlight. This yellow, virgin? Yeah. Here. Yeah. She did later. She did it okay. After. After okay.
How's it going? Okay, good. All right. Let's see Susan's. Oh, very nice. Lovely.
Bit dark, I think, I went second round.
No, but that's okay. Let's see after it dries. It sometimes becomes light. So
Okay.
give some time. Okay. So I see, Susan, that you have left some space around the Gloriosa Superba.
Yeah.
Do a second wash, or you left a darker space around it?
No, I left it dark.
Okay. All right. So this one now, using the same principle, we have pretty much the same colors. You can try painting this, but this time round, we are not going to paint so carefully. We want the colors to merge a little more organically. We have a very interesting shape going. So the shape in itself is reminiscent of the flower that it is supposed to represent. So while we can do this technique as well, we can try to make this a little more fun. So in this case, the light color, which is on the edges, you will paint that first. You could paint it individually. You could paint these petals individually and then pull the red into the center of the petal. I'll just show you how to do that. So for this, we can turn the book around. Pretty much the same colors used here. Now, of course, if you get very confused, like I get, you can turn the reference image also upside down and start off from the base. Now, keep the color nice and liquid so that the edges can flow into the center. And make the lighter color a bit wider than you see in the picture. Because once the deeper color enters into that, it will reduce in size. And for this, I'm not using the dark shade at all. In fact, I might even hazard using an orange and scarlet and start blending from the, I guess, apply the paint in a place where it doesn't rush to the edges. And keep pulling it further and further. I'm using a small brush for this because I want to control the quantity of paint I have. Now there's a lot of paint, so I'm going to restrict its movement a little bit and pull it towards the end and finish it off with a nice sharp line over here. Now, as tempting as it might be, please don't do any more musty here. Definitely no zigzag strokes. Let's see how this looks. So this becomes like the artist's version of colors blending in nature. Later on, we will reinforce this, I guess this joint by just adding a few dots or dotted texture and make it look more organic. This is how the colors between the two, the space between the two merges in generally in nature. It starts becoming a little less like a firm line. And then you'll notice that there are these edges, you have got them thinned down to about the size that you see in the picture. Okay, so one petal at a time does make sense. After you've done this, then we will make some strokes to make the petal look more three-dimensional. So since we have just 10 minutes to go, I want to just finish this one petal and show you, and the rest then you'll be able to do it the same way. Wherever the petals are folding onto each other, do one side first and then do the other side. Consider them as two independent petals. Continue with the next petals. So these petals on the side, they don't even have a clear, they have a clear demarcation between the red and yellow. So you don't even have to bother with blending. The one on the left does, so I'm taking that further. This would make for a very nice state flower, I think. But no, so there's, I think, enough in Kerala also.
Hmm?
This flower
Hmm.
would make a very interesting state flower.
Hmm. So this is also called Agnishika.
Ah, yes, I've heard that name also.
Agnishika, glory lily. Okay.
In the forest, it just looks so dramatic.
Hmm.
Okay, now the first petal has dried. I just want to show you the how to make that shadow area. Without the shadow, this just looks like one deflated balloon. So we will use the previous color that we've created already. We just need some kind of a deeper red shade. And there's a couple of things we'll do here. One is the center spine. We need a nice center spine. Then you have, so this could be a manipulated stroke that you use the same color as the red with. Press down and bring it here. So it's just one additional layer of red. It's the same shade, not even the darker shade. Here again, just a subtle shade like this. So look at the dark shadows that you see. And this should do it. You don't need too much more. Maybe one over here. Yeah, this could be the darker color. Yeah. So you can, even if the coloring is fairly casual, these few details can make the flower look like more realistic. You can then add, there needs to be a corollary in the green also, or the yellow also. So you can make a deeper shade using the previous yellows and greens. Add a little bit of yellow ochre, because then that always adds shadows. Even in yellow, if you want to make it look shadowy, add yellow ochre. So that will be another manipulated stroke that will come down like that into this space. And from this edge. And I like to add a little bit of drama to the shadow like this. So you have a deeper stalk, end of the stalk. And everywhere you need to add shadow, you can just add that little bit of dark and maybe a little bit of blue just towards the tip. It's a very subtle color, but it makes all the difference. Okay, cool. Okay, so is there any request you want for next week? Have you all thought of what flowers we can do?
Maybe can we do like bunch?
Oh, bouquet of flowers again?
Yeah.
All right, I don't mind. That's always fun. All right. Any other suggestions that you might have, you guys? You thought about it?
What did they suggest?
A bouquet.
Oh,
And also that, what was that, like hydro, where we have so many.
Hydrangea.
Hydrangea. where we have
Ah,
so many-
multiple. Okay, okay. So what are those called? An inflorescence. All right, okay. That also we can do. I think a hydrangea would be a great idea.
Because
Yeah.
when we see so many flowers, it's
you
always.
do blue flowers like the Gokarna, hydrangea.
With hydrangea, we can address an inflorescence instead of single flowers. We often do single flowers, but in an inflorescence, there would be tiny, tiny, tiny flowers all over in a particular structure. Sometimes they can also be like
Also like an Ixora or Snapdragon.
Ixora. What does Ixora look like?
Four
Is that
petals, no?
Ixora?
Yes.
Okay. Ixora.
Four petals is a bunch of individual
Long,
flowers.
thin stalks
I
and
think
4
I
petals.
know. I've heard the name. Oh gosh, yes. This is,
Yeah,
I
these are-
know. These were
They're
so
very pretty,
common
yeah.
in gardens.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that this is also nice. Pretty similar. So
Mm.
this is like the tropical version of the hydrangea. All right, let's try this. That would be good for next week. And then the week after that, we could make bouquets. All right, so these girls are going to continue over here. There's another class. Susan hasn't said hi to them, I think.
Hi.
You guys must have had an awesome week.
We're waiting to see your photograph.
I know. I
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had we
We
had
had
to
so
share
much fun.
the pictures.
We really had so much fun, so much.
can
to
imagine.
do.
I can
Yes.
imagine. I
Yeah.
can absolutely imagine. The place is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
it was
place
like,
where you
yeah,
stayed, that
was
was really
very
awesome.
different.
Mahabaleshwar Club, it looked so nice.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you didn't say Mahabaleshwar, I said, yeah, see, this was a outstation, I mean, out of the country trip.
That's true.
Nice, some nice mansion
Yeah.
in UK.
And the food was so nice. We were so busy eating the food than drawing. Then we have to take pictures. So we don't.
Yeah, it was very nice. But it still felt like we could do more. I
Yeah.
felt like
Yes.
I could do another 3 or 4 days more. It's never
Oh.
enough.
Wow.
And then also our journals are incomplete.
Yeah.
Ah.
We always feel that I wish I had a whole day
Yeah.
between day 1 and day 2 to finish the journal, and then I can do day 2 and then
Ah.
another day off. Let's see.
Hmm.
The way it's going looks like at some point I'm going to have a month-long retreat. The alternate day we will do
Yeah.
something 3 or 4 days a week, and then Sunday ko chutti.
Yeah.
Nice. One of these days I will join. I don't know when.
Yes,
but one
yes,
of
we
these.
shall make it happen.
Me too, me too.
Ah.
So on the 10th, anyway, we can do a meetup for the exhibition at NMACC. So
Yeah.
just keep that date in
10th
mind.
of Feb.
10th of Feb. I'll be in town from the 9th to the 11th or 12th. We're coming back on the 12th. So I was hoping that everyone, whoever can manage, we can spend the first half of the 10th at the exhibit, at the pop art exhibit, and then maybe do lunch, have some discussions. So I'll need help from Bombay people to figure out the logistics of all this.
Yeah, I have my son's annual day is on 9th and 10th or something like that. But if it's the second part of the day or first part of the day, accordingly
Ah.
I'll see jump
Yeah,
out of
I'd
it.
like to do this in the morning because
Okay. Okay.
my avatar changes when traffic begins. So I want to finish. I become like a dragon lady. So I want to do this in the morning half and then everything else in the evening. And of course, we have to go to Mahindra Blues. So I want to finish this off in the morning.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, should be fine. Should be fine.
Cool. All right, chalo, I'll catch you all next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Have fun, girls.
Bye, Danny. Danny.
Nanny.
Okay.
Oh, Nanny. Zai.
You.
Bye. We'll meet. We will meet
Yes.
soon.
Uh,